worst years. Radical left Democrats are causing millions of Americans who depend on food stamps to go without benefits. They're forcing federal workers to go without paychecks, and they're stranding thousands of travelers at the airports. And you understand it, and they understand it. All because they want to return to the failed Biden policies that created, and also Obama policies. I watched him the other day up talking, well, Donald Trump is a mean person. I'm not a mean person. I just want to have a country that's great again. Is that okay? I'm not a mean person. He's a mean person. He's a divider. He's a divider. Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. And by the way, ask him how he's doing on his museum library. He's got hundreds of millions of dollars of cost overruns. It's come to a dead halt. He built it in not a particularly good location. He's not into real estate, you know. He doesn't know about location. He doesn't know about location, but he built it in a location that's not going to be too good. But the thing has come to a dead halt. It's way over budget. It's sort of like Gavin Newsom in California. He's got a train that was supposed to go from San Francisco to Los Angeles, which is a stupid idea because an airplane is faster. I don't care how fast it goes. And they had plenty of airplanes. San Francisco, inside San Francisco to inside right there, L.A. And what they did is they said, oh, man, this has been going on for years. It's billions and billions of dollars over budget. So what they decided to do is cut it so that it doesn't go into San Francisco and into L.A. It goes way short of both. And then they cut it again and again and again. Pretty soon they're going to have like 2 miles of track. Billions and billions of dollars, totally incompetent. The biggest cost overrun proportionately that I've ever seen. Many, many, many times more. And it's no longer the same. It was supposed to go into the city. Now it's way short, many miles short of the city. So they're going to drop you off and you can walk the rest of the way. That train is going to haunt him. You watch, because he doesn't have what it takes. I tell you that. Slimy guy. He's a slimy one. Maybe that should be his nickname. Slimy Newsom, right? But he doesn't have it. But you look at that train, it's going to cost him. Republicans have voted 14 times to fund the government. And it's time for Chuck Schumer, crying Chuck. Remember he started crying at the airplanes? They were the worst forced tears. I've known him all his life. He's never cried. But he broke down in tears. He was so devastated. He didn't know why he was crying, but he just thought it was good to do. His people told him this was a good time to cry. Crying Chuck. But it's time for Chuck Schumer and the radical Democrat Congress to stop playing games with the people's lives and to pass a clean funding bill that they've done 30 times before. And to reopen government immediately. Just reopen it. They don't like it to be reopened because we're setting records. They think actually, I don't think anything's going to hurt. We are so strong now that I'm not sure that anything's going to hurt. But it would be good to open it up, take care of the people with jobs that aren't going to get paid and aren't getting paid. And no matter what, we will not let them impose their inflation-causing extremism on the American people. We're not going to pay $1.5 billion for people that came into our country illegally, okay? If you don't mind. That's what they did last time. Remember the Inflation Reduction Act? The greatest scam, one of the greatest scams. I would say some of their environmental scams were even bigger, but one of the greatest scams ever, Inflation Reduction Act. And then they admitted it had nothing to do with inflation reduction, remember? But it did actually cause massive inflation. It actually caused massive inflation. But we don't use auto pens in the Trump administration to sign things. We don't believe in that. You know, I get these guys come in with these big, beautiful documents, gorgeous, beautiful, must cost a fortune. I should check the price. But, you know, a general is being made or something, you know, some big post. And they say, sir, would you sign this, please? It's going to be a 4-star general, or it's going to be a big cabinet position, or it's going to be something with medical or whatever. I take my pen and I sign it. In his case, they walk it into a room and they give it to somebody who's no idea who Biden is. But Biden doesn't have any idea who he is either. and they have a machine sign it, the auto pen. And all of the pardons, he gave thousands of pardons to people. He had no idea about it. He didn't know about it, and therefore all those pardons are void. You know, you have to have, it's a very complicated thing if you're going to use a machine. You have to do it properly. And he didn't have any idea what was happening. And this is what we had as a president. We don't want that. You have the opposite right now. I don't want to be braggadocious, but you have the exact, I know exactly what's happened. If you want to see what congressional Democrats wish to do to America, just look at the result of yesterday's election in New York, where their party installed a communist as the mayor of the largest city in the nation. Remember, I've said we will never have a socialist elected to any post in our country. I used to say that, and I was right. We skipped socialist and we put in a communist instead. That didn't work out too well. But as I've warned for many years, our opponents are hell-bent on turning America into a communist Cuba or socialist Venezuela, and you see what happened to those places. For generations, Miami has been a haven for those fleeing communist tyranny in South Africa. I mean, if you take a look at what's going on in parts of South Africa, look at South Africa, what's going on. Look at South America, what's going on. You know, I'm not going to, we have a G20 meeting in South Africa. South Africa shouldn't even be in the Gs anymore, because what's happened there is bad. I'm not going. I told them I'm not going. I'm not going to represent our country there. It shouldn't be there. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of South America. Take a look at what's happening in different parts of the world. But now the Democrats are so extreme that Miami will soon be the refuge for those fleeing communism in New York City. They flee. They flee. Where do you live? New York City, but I'm trying to leave because I don't want to live in a communist regime. I hope it works out for New York. I love New York. I love New York. When I left New York for the White House, it was good, except we had, you know, the telltale signs of trouble because we had a guy named de Blasio. Do you ever hear of him as mayor? He goes down as probably the worst mayor in history. Then he went to Harvard to teach government. Do you believe it? They took de Blasio, and they took that mayor from Chicago, the woman, the one that gets her hair done very expensively, right? Beautiful hair. She got beautiful, luxuriant hair. And they took her, and she's teaching at Harvard. They're teaching government. And then you hear about Harvard. We're trying to work a settlement with Harvard right now for about, like, a lot of money. I won't tell you what, but you'll be reading about it pretty soon. Because what they've done to Jewish people and what they've done to others is pretty bad, I'll tell you. It's pretty bad. Going to cost them a lot of money. After last night's results, the decision facing all Americans could not be more clear. We have a choice between communism and common sense. Does that make sense to you? Common sense. It's common sense or communism. And, you know, you take a look back 1,000 years, it hasn't worked. If it worked, we'd be using it, I guess, but it hasn't worked. Our opponents are offering an economic nightmare. We're delivering an economic miracle. We have delivered in 9 months, this is the biggest investment of funds in a country in history by many times. That's good. They want higher spending for government and illegal aliens. We want bigger paychecks for American workers and American families, and that's what we're delivering. You see that. They stand for crime and chaos and corruption. We stand for law and order and justice. Also, strong borders. Boy, do we have strong borders. They put America last. We put America first. We put America first. And as long as I'm in the White House, the United States is not going communist in any way, shape, or form. We'll stop it. We're going to stop it. Stop this nonsense. You know, I said they were voting last night. You can have a communist or a thug. A communist, and they took the communist, you know. It's pretty amazing. We could have done a little better in terms of candidates. From day one of my administration, I've been fighting every single day to turn around the catastrophe we inherited to make America the best place on the planet Earth to do business, and that's what it is. Right now, we're the #1 place. I'm getting plants approved in 2 weeks. It used to take 20 years before they got rejected. You'd have young people start off. Their whole business was getting a certain plant accepted. 22 years later, they're ready to retire, and they haven't gotten it. And then they go to a vote, and they get rejected after 22. They wasted a whole life looking for an acceptance. We do it in 2 weeks. We make sure it's good. We make sure it's great and proper, environmentally sound. Takes 2 weeks. My goal is to have the best tax rate and proper, environmentally sound. Takes 2 weeks. My goal is to have the best tax rates, the lowest energy cost, the lowest regulatory burden, the most advanced technology, and the fairest trade deals anywhere in the world. You know, we're leading China. We're leading everybody by a lot in AI. And this was my idea, so I'm very proud of it. I said, build your own electric. People would come. We need more electric grid, sir. The electric grid's 200 years old. We need more electric grid. It's old. The electricity that the AI plants need alone is double the entire electricity that we have in the country right now. Can you believe it? So I had this idea. I said, we can't fix the old grid that much. We'll fix it up. We'll keep it going. A little Band-Aid here, a little Band-Aid there. It's old. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to let these geniuses build their own electric generation. So they are building their own electric utility plants. They become a utility, if you think about it. They're building the utility and the electric right alongside. This is where they have their transformers and everything. They're building the most expensive electric plants you've ever seen, generating plants. Some by nuclear, some by oil and gas, some by coal as a substitute. They're building them right next to their plant, and they're incredible. People say they've never seen anything like it because these minds are genius. To them, an electric plant is not complicated. To them, an electric plant is better than the people that produce electricity, although Florida Power and Light is doing a lot of plants for people. They're pretty advanced, I have to tell you. But they're building their own juice next to the plant. Isn't that sort of a cool idea? And you know, when I first proposed that, they came into my office with, you know, they have unlimited money, but they were trying to figure out how they can build it because they had no electric of any consequence. And I said, you're going to build your own plant. I'm going to get you your approvals in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, maybe a month if I'm slow. We have a great man, Lee Zeldin, in charge of the environment. He's incredible. And he's tough, too. He's very tough. But they have their approval in 2-3 weeks. You know, they're dealing with the best experts in the world. They know what they're doing. It's amazing when you see some of the stuff come in, designed by guys with 190 IQs, and then you have an inspector who's not quite as smart as that, inspecting it to see whether or not it's okay, and he has no idea what he's looking at. No idea. But I said, you're designing your own electric plant, and they didn't believe it. They come in 2 weeks later, they say, the biggest problem is electric. I said, you can design your own plant, and we're going to have your approvals within 2 to 4 weeks. And they said, he's really serious about it. They thought I was kidding. It was so good, they couldn't believe it. They'd leave, and they couldn't believe it. It took me 2 or 3 times to say it. Yeah, they're designing their own electric plants, and it's unbelievable. And then they're going to sell their excess electricity back into the grid. So we benefit in that way, too. In July, I proudly signed into law the largest tax cuts in American history. Now, that's the second time. I did it the first time, but these are even larger, the great, big, beautiful bill. And that includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for our great seniors, no tax on Social Security. I wonder which is the most popular of the no tax on tips. You know, I was in Nevada, in my building in Las Vegas, and I had this beautiful young waitress come up to me. I never talk about beauty anymore because politically, if you mention somebody's beautiful, that's the end of your political career. So I don't mention that she was beautiful, but she was beautiful. And she came up, and I said, how you doing? Oh, sir, I'm not doing well. The government is horrible on tips. I said, really? How do they tax? They tax tips? They tax us, and they go after us. I've never seen anything like it. It's made my life miserable. Sir, there should be no tax on tips. She said to me, no tax on tips. I said, say it again. She said, sir, there should be no tax on tips. So we had a lot of the fake news waiting for me outside of the restaurant. So I went out, I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement to make. There will be no tax on tips. That's how it all started. And I won Nevada. I won Nevada. Because, you know, in Nevada, every job is basically, you know, you're a waitress or you're working in a hotel. No, that's how it started. So it was amazing. We won Nevada easily, which is usually not a stronghold for Republicans, but it's become a stronghold. So I want to thank the waitress. She did a great job. But when she said those words, sir, there should be no tax on tips, it's amazing. Somebody else would hire a consultant, pay them millions and millions of dollars. They'll come back and they'll say, sir, I think you should absolutely tax tips. And you'll lose the election. But we also have 100% expensing for all new factories, plants, and equipment, so your businesses can write it off all in 1 year, and that's a lot of jobs you're doing and producing. That was, to me, the biggest thing in the first bill. But this is even better because this goes for a 10-year period. Upon taking office, I signed an executive order requiring that every new regulation, every time we issue a new regulation, think of this, 10 old regulations must be eliminated simultaneously. So if we give you one, you get rid of 10. And so far, for 9 months, we're exceeding that. And it's 30 to 1. For every new one we give, they're getting rid of 30, last nearly $1 trillion worth of regulatory burdens. We have regulations that are so old and nobody uses them, but they stymied a lot of production, a lot of jobs. And I did it the first time, and we had the largest regulation cuts in history, and now we're exceeding it this time. So it's big. That's a big, it's one of the reasons we did so well then, and I think it's one of the reasons we're doing so well now. Again, we have to talk about it because it takes decades, now takes 28 days. And on day one, I signed an executive order to unleash American energy and officially terminate the Green New scam. Has anyone, and then it would be too cool. And then they said global cool. They didn't know what the hell to say. So they came up with the greatest, climate change. No matter what, if it goes up, if it goes down, climate change. They're very, very smart people, but not smart for us. They're smart for them. But my policy was very simple. Drill, baby, drill. We're drilling like crazy right now. And to curb inflation, we've slashed the size of government for the first time in years, and we're waging total war on waste, fraud, and abuse like we've never done before. Since January, 100,000 bureaucrats have left the federal payroll. Government spending is down 2.5% this quarter compared to 1 year ago. Think of that. And in stark contrast to last administration, 100% of all new jobs created in America under my administration have been created in the private sector. 100% of the jobs have come from the private sector. Otherwise, you don't have a country. I mean, I love government workers, but if you have all government workers, you don't have a country, do you? At the same time, my tariffs are bringing in hundreds of billions of dollars and are helping slash the deficit this year by more than 50%. Did you see the numbers? We're going to be down 50%, anywhere from 25 to 50, but closer to 50%. Who with numbers? Now, take that out to